It's I, the Manchester Storm, here, and I'm really happy to be with Scott Simmonds. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to come and spend a bit of time with us. Really,
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for having me. Obviously, a little less busy these days, so it's
yeah,
okay.
definitely. I think you said to me over the messages you're packing up and getting ready to go. So is that in full swing when you're off?
Yep, we're heading out this weekend, so we're going to do a little bit of traveling, my wife and I, before we head home. Obviously, it's nice to be over the pond and be close to things that you can go see. So we're going to take advantage of that. I think most of the guys have taken off and they're back home now. So it's kind of just the last few of us right now.
Yeah, just winding down. I suppose, have you recovered? Our last game was a couple of weeks ago now. Have you recovered from, I suppose, the physical exertion and training? Are you back on form?
Yeah, to some degree, obviously, there's still a few bumps and bruises from just a long season, and it takes a bit of time to unwind and get your mind kind of straight after a season like that. But yeah, obviously, not training and getting a little bit of rest, kind of some much needed rest, actually, has been helpful for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because I think you're one of the very few players, especially on our team, that's done all games all season, and that's an achievement and a half. So other people have talked about just how grueling kind of this league is. Is that what it's like for you? It's a real like it's physically quite a grind and exhausting.
Yeah, I mean, we played mostly weekends, so it's not too bad, and our schedule is pretty nice. We practice through the week, and then most of our games are, as I said, on Saturday and Sunday. So, and overall, the grind isn't too bad. But when you get up to be playing close to 70 games, yeah, you're ready to just have a couple of weeks off at least. I think Kevin Ekman Larson was the other guy that played all the games too,
Yeah.
so we were laughing a little bit. We're the Iron Man of the team.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking yesterday as I was getting ready for this. You are definitely the Iron Man of the team. Um, I mean, in terms of the season you've had, I mean, I was kind of composing sort of the various sort of stats that are available to us. And I mean, you have been involved in everything. You're up there in terms of goals, phenomenal amount of assists, penalty minutes, face-off wins. I mean, you are up there on everything. And significantly improved over like the last seasons and sort of past kind of clubs. Does it feel like you've improved in the way that you're playing? Are you happy with kind of your game?
Yeah, I mean, it helps when you play as many games, to be
Yeah,
on those lists with guys that have been hurt for most of the season or, part of the season at least. So definitely having played that many games obviously helps to be on those lists. But yeah, this season, it was a fun season for me. It was honestly probably my best season offensively, at least. Whereas typically, I'm a little bit more defensive and maybe chipping in here offensively and doing well there. But this season was different. Just got to play with some really fun guys, especially for the first half, playing with Jesper and Ryan Barrow there. So we had a pretty good chemistry and we were doing really well. And then to see them go down was pretty much at the same time was almost devastating to me. But I knew that we had other guys that were completely capable, and credit to everybody else too for helping out. And we had some great depth this season, which allowed us to really do well in the second half, even despite the injuries. So yeah, as you kind of mentioned, it's a good season offensively for me, but I definitely credit a lot of that to my teammates and the opportunity that I had from coach.
sure. I suppose has that having kind of such a drastic line change due to injuries. What's that like adapting to that and sort of trying to find synergy with other guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because sometimes coaches, they play around with line combinations every period. You see that in this league where there's different combinations by the shift. Here we kind of settled into the lines in the first half and made the chemistry kind of click and saw who liked to play with each other and who maybe couldn't play together well but could play with someone else pretty well. So yeah, I think in the second half we kind of got to that where we were changing lines more just because we had to. The guys were coming out in, things were happening and stuff like that. So I don't know. As a player in hockey, you kind of gotten used to playing with different people throughout, and just kind of figuring it out as you go. But yeah, I think when you get long stretches where you're playing with the same guys, you definitely get a feel for, where's this guy going to be in this
Yeah.
situation, or can I put this pass in front of the net and know that he's going to be there without even taking that split second hesitation to look? So that stuff helps. But in the end of the day, you know, we're professionals and we need to be able to find combinations and chemistry with whoever we're playing with.
Definitely, definitely. Um, One of the things I noticed, and I hope you're okay talking about it, but I suppose your penalty minutes definitely increased this season, and I think it's kind of one of the reasons. Almost you're one of the fan favorites. You know, you're always there, sort of chuckling at guys, and sort of I don't know if it's trying to pull a penalty from the other team. Um, with everyone being pros, I suppose, what do you find is the easiest way to wind up the opposition? Are you chirping? Are you giving them a nudge? Like, how are you getting under
Yeah, and
in?
I mean, you think you said it kind of like I just sometimes smiling at them is the best way to get them upset. So I've learned that over the years. I mean, I haven't taken this many penalty minutes before, so you know, maybe it just took me 4 years to realize that the Manchester Storm fans love penalties for some reason. So no, I think just playing with a little bit of an edge, and you know, I like to finish checks, and
Hmm.
when you do that, guys don't necessarily like it. So you know, I think playing with that edge, as I said, kind of just keeps me engaged in the game, and then hopefully kind of engages others as well. And you don't want to put your team short too often, but I had confidence that we were going to kill the penalties, and confidence that I could probably get somebody else on their team in the penalty box as well at the same time. So it worked out.
um, Michael Rainey's written in and he's asked, what's been your highlight of this season?
I think a highlight for me was because we hadn't had it since I've been here, just kind of getting that first playoff game in the shelter. Obviously, the fans showed up all year, but in the game like that, when you can't even hear each other talking on the ice, it's pretty exciting. I was completely blown away again by the fans and just how supportive they are there. And yeah, I think that was the highlight. We worked hard to get into the playoffs, first of all, and then to see that kind of come to fruition, and then get the chance to play Sheffield at home, and coming back from 2-0 down in the third period, like it was just a great game overall. And I thought, like, obviously it would have been nice to continue on to the final weekend, but even getting that home game at home, or home game, sorry, I should say, in the playoffs was just an incredible experience.
Yeah, definitely.
Another one, I'll cut back in. Another one was in Belfast, sweeping Belfast in Belfast. So anyway, the playoff game and then Belfast, the 2 games wins there was really, really nice too.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's going to be like the highlights for a lot of the guys I'm speaking to at the minute.
Yeah.
Both kind of the atmosphere. I think even as fans, like the atmosphere on that weekend,
Yeah.
electric is just
It was great.
And then sort of sweeping Belfast, it just doesn't happen. Was really good. Nice. I suppose there's been you've been with us for a little while now, and I suppose with the shift of Ginner moving from teammate to coach, I suppose what's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's interesting. I haven't had a teammate transition into coach, while I've been in that spot. So that's quite interesting. I think having the shifting it from teammate, as you said, to coach is a different dynamic. But at the same time, I thought Ginner did really well. That's a big jump. He had a little bit of experience last year on the bench, but even just bench management and understanding how line combinations and putting guys out in certain situations works. That's stuff you got to learn through experience. So I thought he did a great job on the fly this season, and you could see our team got better throughout the year, which is credit to him and credit to the guys as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think getting as far as we did, especially on his first year as head coach was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing guys in when we did have such a streak of injuries,
Yeah.
guys that sort of fit in well. It definitely went well. Does that change like the dynamic? I don't know how much you guys hang out outside of work, as it were, but I suppose in terms of finding kind of that, when you have to sort of get the work done versus sort of being mates, I guess, how was that in the locker room and outside of work?
Well, it was interesting this season. We had a very young team, so that definitely was different than the previous seasons I've been here. Because I think my first year I was one of the youngest guys, other than the Brits, and then even last year I was probably bottom third of age, and then this year it's like, yikes, I'm like the oldest guy. So I think it was like a different dynamic. They kept me young for sure, and it was a lot of fun seeing kind of these guys and the energy they have come in their first or second, third year pro, and just kind of coming out of school or coming out of whatever they were doing previously. So there was a lot of energy in the room. Like they were young, they were passionate, and they even let the older guys like myself kind of hang out with them, which was really nice. So I appreciate that.
Um, does that change how you have to kind of act? Because I suppose, I was thinking more from like a, not necessarily coaching, but when you talk about like, um, you're a little bit more experienced, you've got lots of kind of rookies. Do you have to act differently, or sort of do you end up sort of half coaching?
No, I mean, I try not to change, who I am too much. Hopefully, people like who I am or enjoy who I am, and I don't have to change that for older guys or younger guys. And just be a leader by example as much as you can. And yeah, I don't know. It was just a great dynamic, like with the youth and stuff, and just a lot of fun. Some guys ask questions, and you have a little bit more experience, not only in hockey, but in life too. So there's that dynamic where there's people coming to you for different things like that. So very, very neat opportunity for me to be part of the leadership group and an older guy on the team when I don't feel too old.
Yeah.
But when you talk to these guys, you're like, oh, maybe I am a bit. So.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so I suppose thinking about this season has kind of come to an end. You've been with us for a while, and looking back at your history, you tend to sort of stay at clubs for a few years. For your career and where you want to go, have you got any ideas in mind? Whether it's kind of thinking about taking the captaincy, whether it's looking at kind of moving up leagues, whether it's staying a bit longer. Do you know what's kind of your plans?
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, I'm one to kind of live in the moment and enjoy where I'm at and not to think too much about the next steps, especially when we're still playing and stuff. So yeah, the last couple of weeks, I've been talking to my wife and figuring out like kind of where we're going to be. I do turn 30 this summer, so it's almost you can't play hockey forever. What's the next steps if we aren't going to be playing or whatever? So just always every year, having that kind of fall back and just taking some time to think about things and see where you're at. And as you said, I haven't changed teams too many times. So, I'm not one to really change a whole lot, but as I said, also like just taking everything in and trying to figure out the next step in the journey. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Paul Sly's written in and said, what do you see yourself doing in life after hockey? Have you any sort of dreams post career, I suppose, that you want to?
Yeah. There's lots of things I would like to try. I mean, it's weird to think that I'm still playing at this age. I didn't think I would be kind of when I was in school. I was thinking about probably being done at that point, and then, got a chance here and just kept kind of playing. COVID couldn't stop it. So anyway, yeah, just the next steps, I don't know. I think it'll probably be something to do with hockey at some point for sure. And I will always try to stay kind of connected to it. I don't want to ever really lose that because I know how amazing an opportunity it is to be in hockey. So ideally would do something in hockey, and there's always things. I do a little bit of part-time work, just and a little bit of business in Canada. So yeah, it's something that keeps me busy, in the off hours when I'm not at the rink. So just kind of always seeing what's next, and there's could be some opportunities there too.
Yeah. One of the things I've noticed is it seems almost all players that have got their qualifications and studies seems to be in business. Do you know kind of, or can you enlighten me as to why a lot of people go down that route? Is it something that's similarly, offered with scholarships, or how does it work out?
Yeah, I think at school, like a lot of guys take it because, well, it might be one of the easier things to get into in Canada and stuff like that. I don't know about the States as much, but it might also be the same there. Not necessarily easy courses and course load, but you don't need as many maths. And there's just things that kind of lead you to get to that point. It's not science, which like a lot of guys, other than Jacob Ludowich, I don't know many guys in science. So yeah, business, it also does kind of seem like a natural step for, I don't know, an athlete, to go from doing sports and then getting in a team environment in a business like setting. So there's lots of different reasons. I don't know if there's any direct correlation to hockey players and business, but yeah, I think for me personally, I definitely enjoy that side of, things in life and want to do something. Maybe it's hockey and business connected together, or it's separate, beyond this. So yeah, there's definitely an interest there, and it's kind of an easier one to get into. The programs anyway are easier to get into back home.
Sure. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Um, so I've got a couple of rapid fire questions, almost just to get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
Some from me, some from other people. So, um, why the number 25?
Okay, so not really any particular reason other than when I was playing junior in my first year in Belleville in the OHL, I was wearing 29 for exhibition, and then the guy that was wearing 25 didn't quite make that team that year, so that number became available, and I just jumped on it. So not really sure why. There was a couple people that I used to watch when I was younger, like Joe Newendike, and one guy that used to play in Belleville before me, Eric Tangrady. I just liked the number on them, and I kind of stuck, I guess. And I just never changed. So that's how it is.
Fair enough. Um, some of the other stadiums in our league, at warm-ups, they played players playlists out on the music for the warm-ups. If your music was going to be played at the Storm Shelter, what would we hear?
It would be all over the place. Like it would have no, I don't know, it would just not be one genre, probably no like house music or whatever they call it. But I know like Jesper and Kevin really like the house music, but I couldn't get on board with that, to be honest. So it would probably be more like country, some alternative, a little bit of rock. I like the old stuff too, like obviously just the Beatles and Queen, and you know, yeah, there's tons of great stuff out there. I listen to most of it, just maybe not the house.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um, it seems like following a lot of the other guys throughout the season when they've had a bit of downtime, they've been going to Manchester City and United games. When you've not been at work, what have you been getting up to in the city?
Yeah, we walk around quite a lot. Just go check out coffee shops and stuff like that. And obviously there's tons to do here. I went to one City game this year. Usually I try to get to a United game or two. But stay busy. My wife and I like to like go on hikes and stuff around the city. So we go on the peaks. We've gotten up to the Lake District a couple times, which is totally awesome. So yeah, we just kind of do as much as we can because it's such a neat area, and the city is fantastic as well.
Tracy Thornton said, apart from Storm, what do you like about Manchester? And it sort of sounds like there's a little bit there with there's a lot to do. Is there anything else you really like around about Manchester?
Yeah, I mean, I like the people. I think like they're kind of like they remind me of people also back home where like I think it's a northern mentality where like it's just a little bit nicer. Everybody's kind of friendly. So I like the people. I like how central it is to everything in the UK, and also how we have an international airport. Like that stuff's awesome. So transit's easy, getting places on trains easy. Concerts, literally, I'm looking out my window right now at the AO Arena, so I can literally see it, and we can go to concerts and shows and things there. So there's tons to do, as you said. Never really a dull moment in a city like this, which I've never lived in a big city like this, so it's definitely a neat experience.
Yeah. It's very, very different, and it's great sort of having everything on your doorstep.
Yes, very nice.
Travel
Yeah,
through, like you say, with concerts, being able to just
yeah, exactly.
stuff. Do you have any pre or post game rituals or habits?
Yeah, I don't know if I call them rituals, but I definitely do like a similar kind of thing every day, like game day. So I eat at the same time, pretty much eat the same meal every time, which is like a pasta, some chicken, and pretty simple. Um, I don't have, they're not rituals, but in warm up, I like to do the same thing every time, like skate around and kind of mess around with my teammates and shoot pucks at them and stuff. So, I like to enjoy warm up because sometimes when you're playing a long season like that, warm ups can be like, oh, another warm up. But yeah, if you enjoy it, just put your stick on guys and, slash them a little bit, get them ready for the game. It's always a good time.
Make sure everyone's bumped into the glass a couple of times.
Yeah, of course. That's always fun.
Danielle's Hyde has said, now that you've been at Storm for a few years, what is one piece of advice you'd give your younger self for your first season here?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't even know. I think probably like looking back, just, something I've always had to not deal with, but, has been in the back of my mind is just being able to play with confidence. It always takes me like a little bit of time to adjust to whatever I'm doing. And usually it's because I don't completely have the full confidence that I'm going to do fine, which is funny because like I've always kind of, worked out, or it's always worked out well. So just got to go into it with the mentality of, be confident in your abilities and be confident in yourself, and everything will work out.
Message. So last two, they get a little bit sillier as we go. Paul's Drinkwater has asked, on a bacon sandwich, would you have ketchup or brown sauce?
I don't really still know what brown sauce is, to be honest. So I probably would do ketchup. Yeah.
Okay. And then last one, Paul Trugowski has said, what would you be more scared of? 5 horse-sized chickens or 100 chicken-sized horses?
Probably well, that's a confusing question.
Yeah.
Wait, is the horses,
Five,
anything with a chicken, I think would be terrifying. So
yeah.
the tall chickens would be scary for sure.
Okay, horse-sized chickens.
Little horses are funny. Like they're like miniature horses are great.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. So that's all for me. I suppose I really appreciate you taking the time out today, out of your busy schedule, to speak to us and let us get to know you a little bit more. I truly think I can speak on behalf of everyone, and from the bottom of my heart, I really hope that you continue your not changing routine and you stay a little bit longer. Hopefully, we'll catch up with you later in the year. Is there anything you want to say out to kind of, you've got some hardcore fans on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything you want to shout out to them?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, thanks to you. Thanks for doing what you're doing. That's really cool that you've kind of started this up and got a chance to, I read your articles. Just it's nice to see what you're saying and, what the fans are thinking too. So I appreciate it. I'll say hi to Francesca because I know she's going to be watching this, and
Definitely.
she has been my fan since day one. Like she's been at the glass and warm up, and literally just I've watched her grow. I can now see her head above the dashboard. So hi to Francesca and family. And just thank you to everybody for this season. It was a good ride. It was good fun, and the fans once again showed how passionate they are for the sport here and why Manchester's such a great place to play. And I know, as I said, that playoff game kind of summed it up. Just how wild you were in Manchester, and then just how well traveled we were to Sheffield to be even louder than the 6,000 or 7,000 people that were there supporting them. So I really appreciate it, and thanks again for everything.
Well, enjoy your summer, and I hope we get to see you at the end of the year.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. You too.